main thing for Saturday, breakfast and fellowship, and speakers. So the list will come down tonight, so if you haven't signed up and want to, please do that. You can also sign up on Facebook. I think Jamie said we have about 10 or 15 sign up through Facebook, and then on here too, so don't forget that will come down tonight. It starts at 8 o'clock, scheduled one, but depends on how long the speaker's speaking and everything. The theme is your greatest strength, 2 Corinthians 12, 9, and 10. It is in the student building out here, so again, that starts at 8 o'clock. Encourage all the men to come be with us. Don't forget about the hoodies for the youth. The deadline for this is Sunday the 18th. It says see Janice. We'll see if she's able to be here. No service till the 21st before Thanksgiving. And then the second is the church Christmas dinner after the service, so don't forget that. Put it down.
all I wanted to say.
Man, let's get around, you shut that Bible and I was like, you ready to go, ain't you? You ready to go. Y'all go ahead and gather around him, church. Let's pray, and we'll let him have it. Lord, we thank you, God, for this wonderful night you give us. God, we love you. We thank you. God, use us, God, in a mighty way that we just be obedient to your word, Lord, your spirit. Lord, just come down and rain on us, God, Lord, all your blessings, God. Lord, you just lead us in a way, God, Lord, that we open and just be such a word for God, Lord, for you, Father. We love you. Give us tonight, God, Lord, we're preaching words that you said, God, Lord, in your name, that we just believe in it. Just use it, God, Lord, to make somebody live tonight that's not, doesn't know you as a personal Savior, that's lost, God, Lord. Maybe somebody backslid, God, Lord. Just lead us, God, Lord, to the cross and to you. Save souls, God, Lord, just to exalt to you, God. We love you. Thank you, Jesus.
Good. Hear me good? It's hot in here. We just got to be that willing vessel. You would get your Bible, turn to Mark 5, number 25. Chapter 5, number 25. Good verse, say amen. It says, and a certain woman which had an issue of blood for 12 years, and suffered many things of many physicians, and spent all that she had, and nothing better, but rather grew worse. When she heard of Jesus coming to press behind, and touched his garment. For she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be made whole. And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of that plague. And Jesus immediately knew in himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned him into the press, and said, who touched my clothes? And his disciples said unto him, Thou seest the multitude throwing thee, and saying thou, who touched me? And he looked round about to see her, and that had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing that what she had done in her, came and fell down before him, and told him all the truth. And he said unto her, Daughter, thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace, and be whole of the plague. While he yet spake, there came from the ruler of the synagogue and the house curtain, which said, Thy daughter is dead, which troublest the master any further. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you, God, for today, Lord. Lord, I pray, Lord, you'll remove me from here, Lord, and just let them see nothing but you, Lord. We pray, Lord, that you'll be the one that gets heard today, Lord, and not me, Lord. Let me be your mouthpiece, Lord. Lord, we love and pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Now, we're talking about a woman with the issue of blood here. If you study this out in Leviticus, it talks about the Leviticus law, why she was unclean. If a woman has her menstrual cycle more than the allotted time of 7 days, they're considered unclean. So everything they touch, anything they sit on, anybody they come in contact is unclean. They have to do the same thing she does. She has to go stay by herself in her own place. It means every bed she's ever laid in has been unclean. She's lost many of friends. She's lost family. She's lost loved ones. Now, it says she spent a lot of time with physicians. And I don't know about you, but 12 years is a long time to have any kind of illness.
like most Christians today, after a week or so, you're already tired of it. You're ready to forget about it. But 12 years, you think about, with no friends, no family, no one to talk to, just being alone. She went through everything. She went to see this doctor, and he couldn't help her. It just grew worse. And then she give this one his money, and then this one her money and stuff, and until she had nothing. She spent everything she had, every dime she had, and everything she owned was gone. 12 years, it grew worse. Now, this woman, most people would give up, but this woman was willing not to lay down and die. She heard of a man that was coming by her way. Now, being that she had this issue, people kind of knew her already. Yes, she'd already grew weak and stuff like that, but she had to push herself to get to where she was going. She had to press behind him to touch his garments. So being that she was already new and stuff, she had to sneak her way in there. Now, as she was going through there, come here, Mark. Stand up here for me. Now, when she was pressing behind him to touch the hem of his garment. You see where the hem is? You see what just happened? If I be lifted up, I will draw all manner of men unto me. Oh, is that good? That ought to make a Baptist son shout right there. What do you reckon? If I could just touch the hem of his garments right there, then I shall be made whole. She said, if I, that's where her faith come in contact with God, knowing that she was going to be delivered that day from that. It says, so she was willing to go, no matter the consequence, what was going to happen. And it said immediately she was healed. That the virtue had come out of him. But when he turned around and said, who touched me? That's when she feared. She was trembling. What was going to happen to me? But straight away, what'd she do? She told the truth. She was begging. Just like us today. We need to come clean with God. Come touch the hem of his garment and see what's going to happen to us. We can get healed from whatever we're suffering from. This illness she had the issue of blood. What issues are we dealing with? Are we dealing with issues of families? There's a lot of turmoil going on today in families. There's a lot of bickering going on. There's a lot of drugs going on. There's problems with friends. There's problems with families. There's school. There's work. What are we going to do with this? We have a chance to touch the hem of his garment tonight. Now, what are we going to do with that? It said, so immediately when she had touched him, her life had changed. So we need to tell the truth, all the truth. Just like I think if she might have been the first one in there to tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? Just like she's in front, Lord, forgive me. I want to tell you the truth. I want to get it all out there. But the Bible says confession is good for the soul. It's the confession she done, telling the truth, wasn't for him. He didn't know how bad she was and what all she done wrong. It was good for her. It let her open up and know who she really was. And there's 3 points here I want to make to you. If you go back up into verse 25, it talks about a certain woman. This right here, when it's talking about it, it calls her a certain woman here. Now, that's nobody in particular. It's just talking about a certain woman. And then when you go on down, it says, someone touched me. Then she become someone. And then when you go on down to verse 34, it says daughter. He made her a daughter. After all this went through, it made her a daughter of the Most High King. So we have faith coming to touch the hem of his garment today, to make you whole, to make you their daughter. I don't know what everybody's struggling with. I just listed a few things of what people have troubles with. There's a lot of issues going on today with families, friends, school. God just wants you to come be at his side, be at his mercy. He loves you. fellowship with you. He wants you to be his daughter or his son. So everything will be all right. I hope that this touched somebody today. I hope that you can take this, not for what it's just what it says, but take it to heart. Let it touch you like it did me. Don't think that you're nobody or that you're just another random person here. But let God use you in a mighty way. God uses us. He puts us in situations that sometimes that we can't see. Maybe it may be at work, or maybe it may be the friends you're hanging out with. I mean, if you're a stay-at-home mom, you see mostly family. But He can use you in every way. You just have to be willing and ready for that time. So I pray that that will help you, and I pray that this will touch you today. And God bless you.
You know, when Larry was talking about that, I could just think that, we have a lot of different religions, and they all think and agree that theirs is the right one, they're the right path. But I don't believe that God is interested in our religious acts. I don't believe He's impressed with our, back in the old days, He was talking about the washings and the offerings and the rituals and everything that we go through. And a lot of our religious activities is just that. It's a lot of things that we go through, just symbolic or whether or not, but it just becomes real, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just monotonous almost to the point thinking we're gaining God's favor by what all that we do. And when Larry was talking, it just made me think of that. It also made me think about all the different ways that Jesus healed somebody. I mean, there wasn't any specific way or an order that, step one, step two, you do it this prescribed way in order for Jesus to do his healing. I don't know of any two in the Bible that was identical. Every one of them was just to come in, to put his hands on somebody's ears, to spit in the clay, to spit in his eyes, to rub in the eyes, to just speak from a distance, and just so many different ways that Jesus chose to heal somebody. And that should show us each and every one that it's not in just the outward. It's not just in our, in the monotony of what we do in our religious activities. But when it comes down to the act of faith, and that's what really marks the difference. That's what takes it from a certain woman to a daughter. And there was no prescribed order for this woman either. I mean, it wasn't like one of the doctors said, I can't help you, but I'll tell you what, for $250, I'll tell you, if you go down and touch his garment, that'll do it. It wasn't a doctor's prescription, it was a matter of her heart, because she said in her heart, if I can just touch the hem of the garment, I will be made whole. That's where she placed her faith, and it wasn't in just the garment or going. Larry talked about this. She was unclean. She was not supposed to be out in public. She had to just haul her unclean everywhere that she went. Can you imagine that, going out and unclean? Saying it before anybody. You was required to do that. But yet, when she went to Jesus, she knew she wasn't supposed to be there. But in her heart, she knew that she had to get to the feet of Jesus. And it's the same way with us. When we get to the point where we know that there's a need in our life, and we come to realize He's the only one that's going to make a difference in our life. He's the only one that can. When everybody else starts falling by the wayside, and when you quit putting your faith in your bank account, or your parents, or your job, or where you live, or who your parents are, or grandparents, who you know, your power, or your prestige, when all of that falls by the wayside, and there's nobody standing beside you, and there's nobody that you feel like that you can turn to, that's when God says, now then, will you come to me? Now then, will you that simple act of faith, and whether that is coming up to him, but the hem of his garment. I mean, just the hem of his garment. And not necessarily him, but just when you get it and making an act of faith, and you come to him in that act of faith, ever what it looks like, and you're putting all your faith and trust in him, when you fulfill, listen to me, when you fulfill your act of faith, no matter, get it, no matter what it looks like, when you have fulfilled your act of faith, Jesus will say, I felt virtue go out of me. I felt virtue go out of me. Because the faith that you instill upon him, that's what makes the difference. You got prayers you need answers. You got things in your life that you need help to get out of your life. Let me tell you what, he can make the difference. But there's always something. You're going to put your faith in something. You're going to put your faith in something. And I pray that your object of your faith will always be Jesus Christ. Amen. Anybody else got anything for? Andy, come on, Jim. You got something you want to share?
Came in here feeling a little bitter tonight. There was a job opportunity at work. It's for an industrial electrician apprenticeship program. And I've been working with the maintenance crew over there, trying to get to know them, and I've been working hard and everything, just doing whatever I can to try and get in. And so I applied for the job, and I pretty much immediately got shut down. Said that I didn't have enough time enrolled in the current job that I had, and that I didn't have an education, I didn't have any prior experience. So I was like, okay, now's not my time. And I've received a couple other emails from ours company saying that I wasn't going to do it. And then, so I just accepted it as now's not the right time. And I was fine with that. And then, I don't know, maybe a week goes by, and I receive a phone call. Just out of nowhere, I received a phone call asking to schedule a face-to-face interview for this job. And so I was like, God's pulling some strings somewhere. So I was pretty excited about it, but I didn't want to get my hopes up too much because, in case it didn't happen, I didn't want to be discouraged. And I know that God's got my back no matter what, and I know that He doesn't owe me a thing. And I know that, if it doesn't happen, which it didn't, I went to the interview. I just know that if it doesn't happen, that He's going to have my back no matter what. That's it. So I went to the interview. They said I did a good job. He called me back a couple of days ago, or yesterday actually, and talked to me, sat down and talked to me, and gave me a review. He said I did really good on the interview and everything, but they're looking for people that's got more prior experience. I don't know, and I know that He doesn't owe me a thing, and I know that He's going to pull me through. He's got my back no matter what, but it's still kind of, I just couldn't help but feel kind of big. My heart was just, because this is what I'm going to make my career out of, and it would have been really vital for where I'm at right in life. But just the message tonight, just kind of helped build my heart. I thank you for the service. Yeah, I'm just thankful. I almost didn't come here. It's because I was tired. I was bored like 8 days in a row. I was just kind of bitter feeling, and then I almost didn't come here tonight, but I'm glad I did. It's kind of helped me realize, just there's so many people that go through a lot worse than I do. And, I told them I was going to give them some praise no matter what happened.
That's it. That's the difference.
Give me praise in the hurricane. Anybody else got anything? It's good. Anybody? Give you a chance. Give you a chance.
As many times as I have read that story, taught it in Sunday school, heard it preached, it's the first time that I've ever heard it go from a certain woman to a daughter.
Yeah.
That cranked my tractor.
Corinthians 12:9 and 10 said, and he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, and reproaches, and necessities, and persecutions, and distresses for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong.
That's it. That's it.
You know, we think a lot of times just because things going south, the job's up there. It didn't come. I mean, I prayed, asked God about this, it didn't come through. That doesn't mean God's forsaken. And that just means God's got something else in store. You know, and it's learning that you can trust him even when he says no. And even, or if he says not now. Or if he says, you know, we'll do it later, you know. That's the thing about Aniston's all the time. She'll get something on her mind, and you know, she says, can I talk it? You know, can I talk it? That means, you know, can I talk about it? And if you tell her, it just keeps going on and on. Well, she'll keep rattling on and on till you finally get the word that says, you know, we're not talking. You know, we're not talking. She knows that means don't talk. But ain't she glad that God says, you go ahead and talk it. You talk it. Because it's coming. It's coming. And it might not be in the form, the shape, or the month, or even maybe even the year that we think that it should come. But let me tell you what, how many is thankful tonight for unanswered prayer? Yes. Unanswered prayer. Well, we could start over. Might have to tag out, get the mail up there to go. You start talking about unanswered prayer. I mean, I'm glad God knows what we need. And when we start relying on His wisdom and knowing that His what He gives is a whole lot better than what anything we can come up with, then we come to realize that we can wait on Him. We can trust Him. Yeah. Oh, it is. It's always is. Without exception. Without exception. You know, it might be somebody you're praying and witnessing to, they keep shooting you down. But let me tell you what, when they say yes, there's going to be a lot more behind it. You know, a lot more is to come, and it's going to mean a whole lot more in His timing than it ever will, just because you want it now.
Mark, I have to add to that for Jeremy, just to say that, you know, I love Billy, small life. I've always loved it. Lisa kind of took me under her wing and moved hers, and, you know, I worked for Lisa for years, and she tried to show me the ropes and stuff, and I thought I'd be with her the rest of my life, I'm not gonna lie. I put in other job applications and stayed at home, and I wallowed, and man, I was okay, maybe I should have quit, and I thought I should have quit, so I went back, and set to work one day, my phone went off. I hadn't even applied for the job. You know, and at the time, you know, I had days, 6 months ago, I did, I make the right choice, and, you know, but God has got a plan, you know, I'm getting ready to make a huge change in my career, making a ton more money. It's not about the money, but it's what God knew that He had planned for me at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still what I want to do. He just had a, I thought it was the end of the world.
God
I
bless.
was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it was just, I wanted it then. I wanted that change right then, right there. So,
Amen.
hold on, Jeremy.
Amen. And see, the good thing about it too is if God does lead you back to Lisa's, she's done knows that she's right there. So she done knows when you come in and says, "Sis, I done know all about it." The office is right there. And so you're done right back. You didn't know she's there. Did you? It's good. Little red there. No, but it's true. I mean, it's absolutely true. You know, and it's just in God's timing. It's in His hands. It's in His hands. It's good. Good. Amen. I like it. It's like it. Anybody else? Amen. Let's stand our feet. Kathy, I don't know if you feel comfortable. I want you to lead us in prayer. I just want you to pray for us. Let's get our kids up here. We'll do the pray first, then you need to stand when we're doing our business meeting. Take this second, you got this couple.